Well, welcome back to Small College Conversations. I'm Kristen Eargle with College.town. I'm joined by Darin Keizer, Dordt's Director of Athletics. Darin, thanks for being on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm excited about hearing about your background, where you are, and where we're headed here at Dordt. You're in year two, right? There with the
Yeah,
defenders?
that's correct. Yep.
Okay, biggest thing you've learned from year one to year two? I know that year one's the listening and trying to make some changes a little bit, but what's the biggest thing for you going from into year two?
Yeah. I think you're spot on. I had what we call our listen and learn tour early on to just hear my coaches, hear what they need, hear what's going on. Year two is way different. I mean, we're trying to hold a culture. We've had some really good, positive things happen, but we want to keep momentum going. And so it's how do we hold current coaches accountable? How do we keep programs keep trending forward? And then how do we utilize our momentum to help other programs need to take steps forward? And so that's probably been my biggest challenge.
One of the things when I was looking at your bio and where you've been, I would love for you to kind of shed some light more on your background, which is spent some time at Southwest Christian High School in Minnesota. You've spent time as a coach and then transitioning obviously in administration and then transitioning there into higher ed. How did you position yourself to where you are today?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I sometimes look back and I don't really understand how I even made it this far. I think it's been great mentorship. I've had great advice along the way. As I mentioned to you before, when I was in college, I wasn't even thinking I wanted to be an athletic director. I thought I was just wanting to be a coach, whether that was in high school or college. As a grad assistant coach in the college world, my brother and I served as basketball coaches together, and he stayed in the college route. I went to the high school route because that was an area that I was passionate in. A couple years into the high school world, I had asked a couple mentors because I desired to get into the college route. And one of my mentors had said, like, you're going to need to go back to school because the only way a high school AD can get a college job is by getting his doctorate. And so that's what I did. I did my doctorate online while I was working full-time as an athletic director. And then the president of Dordt University, whose wife was my mentor when I was a student here, he became a mentor of mine as I was starting to pursue college jobs. And it so happened that when I was ready to leave my last institution, Dordt University had an opening because their AD had stepped away.
Wow.
And so
fascinating. It just, yeah. I mean, you're working your way and then just an opportunity just really presented itself. Now, there's a program, you talked about mentoring coaches and creating that kind of culture. Tell me a little bit about Coaching for Transformation, the program, and kind of how the impact it's had on your department.
Yeah. So Coaching for Transformation right now is hyper-focused in the high school world. It would be to help high school ADs lead faith integration in their programs across the board. Dordt utilizes the same thing. We have what's called the Defender Way. 4 pillars of our Defender Way are commitment to the Great Commission, developing servant leaders, pursuit of championships, and then development of academic excellence. And so we lean into each one of those pillars, and we teach and train all of our coaches and all of our athletes on those specific pillars, and just in different ways.
So how much do you think this has an impact maybe on coaching retention? I mean, have you seen the type of buy-in that you're having towards your overall mission?
Yeah. I mean, when coaches want to move to rural Iowa for a coaching job, they have to believe in what we're trying to sell. For some in the college landscape, they might be taking a job as a stepping stone. For coaches that choose Dordt, they're choosing Dordt because they know what we're standing for and they believe in the mission that we're trying to accomplish, which we would say the byproduct of what we do is winning. But the product is to disciple student athletes to prepare them for their mission beyond college athletics.
Talk a little bit about the way you are helping your coaches in their leadership positions, and maybe some of your administration, kind of helping them grow the same ways you did. You talked about the mentorship that you had with your president.
Yeah. We do that in a variety of ways. one thing that I realized when I came to do it was our coaches were really, really good, but they were really siloed. The football coaches talked to the football coaches, and we built on an expansion to have all of our head coaches now in the same spot. So now they can pick each other's brains and walk alongside of each other differently. We have coffee with the coaches every month that our coaches just come in and they just talk shop. We've developed professional development strategies. So like next week, I have 2 coaches presenting on the Defender Way, where they're going to walk in, they're going to teach our other coaches on how they do it. And those coaches are going to work with each other to say like, oh, that's really effective. I've never heard that before. I've never heard that approach. And so they hear how they're executing it in their programming. They hear how they're talking to student athletes. They're hearing retention numbers. And so they're teaching each other, their expertise, so that way they can just become better. And that's the strategy that we've taken inside our athletic department.
Darren, your programs have had a lot of success and momentum. Are there some key structural decisions that you feel like are playing a part in that and helping to support this and foster this?
Yeah, we have really good coaches. And so I don't want to take any credit on the success that our programs have had. I think the previous AD, along with the commitment to the university, I think we've done a really nice job of finding ways to build financial structures to support our athletic programs. When we look at NAIA schools, and there's a lot of schools, D2, and even in the D1 world where they're under-resourced athletics, like we're trying to stay competitive. And so we've built up ways to support our coaches financially when it's in the recruiting process, or whether that's through just resources in the facilities that we live in every day, to make it more appealing for the student athlete.
So obviously there's a mindset there from the top in investing in athletics.
Mm-hmm.
What ways do you come alongside that, from corporate sponsorships or revenue generation outside of that? What seems to work for being able to bolster that?
Yeah, we bucket all of our stuff. And so we bucket everything into capital. So we have capital. What do we need? Long-term for facilities. So we built athletic office spaces, training room, locker rooms last year. This next summer, we're going into a full renovation with our gym to bolster that experience for our student athletes and our students for game day. When we work in the line of scholarshiping, not NIL, scholarshiping, we have buckets of how we develop scholarships for student athletes. And then when we hop into the world of staffing or any other bucket, corporate might come into that to support some of those needs that the institution has. So corporate's critical, community is critical, and then our alumni engagement's critical for those 3 buckets.
And I could be wrong here, but the Rozenboom Family Athletic Center, is that the project you're referring to, or is that a different one?
Yes. Yeah. So we broke the Rozenboom Family Athletic Center into 3 phases.
Okay.
First was our indoor track and rec center that has 3 courts where every one of our teams practices. That was remodeled 3 years ago. Last year, we're in the middle phase where locker rooms, athletic offices, training room, team meeting rooms. And then that 3rd phase of the Rozenboom Family Athletic Center is our gymnasium, concourse area, and other team meeting rooms and locker room space. So that will be done. That phase will be done this summer, starting in March.
I was also reading you're in a joint venture with the City of Sioux Center. City of Sioux Center for the American State Bank Sports Complex. Can you talk a little bit about when you positioned that to them and those conversations, and how did you get their buy-in for all of this?
Yeah, our joint use is unique across the board. We have some joint ventures with the high school and the city. We have some joint use with just the city. The ASB complex is one. It's an indoor turf facility. When we started putting numbers together of revenue streams and growth trajectory and how it would help the institution, but also the community, that was a way that the city saw like, hey, this is going to work out. and it makes a lot of sense. We built a 5-year plan, and that was before my time, but we're trending a year ahead of schedule with reservations, people using it. We can host 2 indoor softball games at the same time in there. So we run right around 30 tournaments a year there. So not only does it bolster indoor training for our student athletes, it bolsters economic growth. Last year in the economic study in the state of Iowa, we were the highest outside county spending, and a lot of that attributes to the dome and the usage of the dome.
Wow. So you just sparked my interest. Obviously, I have a daughter that plays travel softball. Like you just said, indoor softball. I love this. And when you think about that, I was thinking about who manages all that. Does your staff, or is this a joint venture where the city is managing some of these events?
No, so it's joint with the city. We have it financially joined. We work out all the details behind the scenes,
Right.
But Dordt runs it. So we have staffing that runs it. So 9 of my coaches, part of their time is in the dome. I have a dome director that runs the whole facility. And so we take on all of the staffing ourselves.
Wow, that is very fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay. Looking ahead, what's next on Dort's strategic horizon for athletics? Any particular things you're most excited about this year?
Yeah, I would say, we've experienced great growth. And one of the things that we need to get done is our gymnasium project. And most of that's getting done this summer, which is a huge burden lifted off of our shoulders. Once that gets done, then we will be identifying some other areas of growth just in facilities, our football stadium, track. We have swimming facility needs because that's joint use. And so working with the community and then working with our swim team to make sure that they have what they need. So facilities is something that we need to catch up on. And so it's exciting, but it's also expensive. And so there's a lot of need in those areas. So strategically planning there is important for us.
Final question for you. When you think about all these projects that you're navigating, communication with the city, all the infrastructure you're putting behind things, what have you learned the most? 2-part question, going through some of this as a leader about these projects. And then what have you learned the most about yourself and your leadership style through this?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Being collaborative is most important, right? Like collaborating with the right stakeholders. So even allowing my coaches to discuss storage room spaces, even though I might not feel like it's important to bring it to them, they take a lot of pride in that. So collaborating with the right stakeholders in your organization or outside of your organization for the people that are using the facility space, even if it takes extra time. What I've learned about myself, I've always known that I like to take charge and I like to be the lead. But I've probably learned that I'm really, really stubborn. And I just want to get it done. And so like, I'm a guy that's just like, I don't look at money as a barrier. I'm just the guy that just says like, let's go at it. And if we have to bite this elephant off one bite at a time, like we're going to do it. But that I'm optimistic in the fundraising side of things, just because I know the support that we have in our communities and the Dordt alumni is probably something that I've learned about myself.
Very good. Darin, thank you so much for your time. Continued success. We'll keep tracking this.
Yeah, thank you.